Welcome to Black Scout Survival Late Night Live. You're looking at a man wearing a USS Liberty hat, a U.S. Navy ship attacked by our so-called greatest ally. Look that story up if you never heard of it. And the shirt right here, man, train for war, live for peace, pray like it's already begun. Because if you're paying attention to what's happening in Latin America right now, you know we're already in it. Tonight, 4,000 soldiers and sailors and Marines are on the move. Amphibious assault ships are in position. Venezuela's dictator, Nicolas Maduro, just called up 4 million militia fighters. And everyone's pretending this is just about drugs. Let me break this down for you. What's really happening and what it means and why this is a flashpoint that could erupt into something far bigger. Okay. So here's what we know. Let me pull the slides here. The Pentagon just deployed 4,000 sailors and Marines to Latin American waters, right in the heart of cartel country. This isn't a training exercise. This is a crisis response force. That means they're positioned to act fast, move quickly, hit hard, okay? The Navy's Iwo Jima Amphibious Readiness Group is involved, plus the boys from 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit. And if you know anything about the MEU, I was part of one of those, part of the 26th back in the day, and they come to party when they come places, right? That's not a symbolic move. That's combat capability. And they're headed under the authority of the U.S. Southern Command, which covers Central and South America, the Caribbean, every waterway in between. But here's the kicker. This deployment came after President Trump signaled he's ready to use military force against cartels. We've been hearing that talk, right? It's been coming up a lot lately, placing them on the terrorist group, okay? And if you want to translate it, done talking, the era of DOJ press conferences and sanctions is over, man. They're sending warships, okay? Now, you have to ask yourself, what's the real reason this is happening now? Because for years, Venezuela hasn't just been a failed state. They've talked about our greatest ally very, very badly lately. That may not have anything to do with it. I don't know. I'm just a guy that puts two and two together. But 50,000 bounty on his head, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Nicolas Maduro is a bad dude. He's a bad dude because they had the 2 a.m. spike like we did. He's a socialist, right? They've destroyed that country, right? It's a failed state. It's a narco state, okay? Cocaine superhighway. And the generals are the ones running it, literally. Their top military commanders are part of what they call Cartel de las Soles. Soles means sons. It's a reference to their sons' rank on their shoulders, okay? These aren't street-level dealers. These are cartel generals in uniform, moving metric tons of cocaine while pretending to be part of the government. And the guy in charge, Nicolas Maduro, he's a former bus driver turned communist dictator. And he's been clinging to power with Cuban intelligence, Chinese money, and Russian military support, okay? He's part of the BRICS movement. No doubt. It's heating up. It's heating up. We're going to get into that in a minute. But he's not just running the country, man. He's running a cover operation. And for years, no one touched him. Matter of fact, I believe Obama was part of the play to use this as a little socialist exercise. But now, you know, Trump sent ships, man, and Maduro sent a message, okay? He got state-run television and called up 4 million militia fighters, okay? 4 million, 4.5 million to confront the Marines. No, 4,500,000 Militiamen for Venezuela standoff. You see that? Yep. Militia fighters. So they're mobilizing across the country to defend against U.S. aggression. 4.5 million. That's not Israel. That's not peacekeeping. That is war language. That dude also has something called collectivos, armed gangs that enforce loyalty in the streets. He's also got his Hezbollah-backed units hiding in his jungle. He's got Russian warships docking at his ports, Iranian money funneling in, and cartel muscle running the streets. Okay, full-blown operation here. Okay. Now, when Trump ordered this deployment, Maduro didn't just get mad. I think he got scared because he knows this isn't Biden. He's not going to get pallets of cash coming this time. They're Marines, warships, drones, and green-lit operations that don't require permission. Okay. So now the thing is that you may say, oh man, not another one. We're going to talk about that. But you got to look in history, though, man. We've never done good, really, with this type of operation. The war on drugs has been a tremendous failure, okay? Tremendous failure. Someone's saying there's Russian arm factories there as well. I've also heard the same, right? And yes, they are scared of those B-2 bombers. I can assure you everybody's scared of that. But if we zoom out for a second, man, this isn't the first time America has flexed hard in Latin America. Okay, we look at 1989, Panama. We went in, grabbed Noriega, and took down a cartel-linked regime in under a week. Under a week. Get it done. 1965, Dominican Republic. 42,000 U.S. troops hit the ground to stop communism from taking hold. Grenada, Bay of Pigs, Cuban Missile Crisis. This region has always been seen as America's strategic backyard, man. CIA has infiltrated that thing more times than you can count. And that brings us, and someone said, a big key here, all about oil in Venezuela, because oil, they have the most oil, okay? It's dirty oil, but it is the most oil in the entire world, far more than the Saudis, okay? That don't mean that we can't put refineries around there and clean that junk up. But this also brings us to something called the Monroe Doctrine. Okay, have you ever heard of that? It's our foundational foreign policy in this hemisphere. And basically it says no foreign interference in the Americas or else. And yet Venezuela has let China, Russia, Iran, Hezbollah, and cartels all move in. That's not just interference, guys. That's called an occupation. And what Trump's doing is the classic Reagan-style, bold, decisive, no apologies. And basically saying, man, you don't get a seat at the table if you're selling fentanyl and pointing missiles at our ships, right? That sort of. If we look at why this could be dangerous, right? Maduro could escalate and target U.S. embassies or personnel in other countries. Not to mention, man, cartels could order retaliation inside the U.S., especially along the border, okay? And not to mention all the operatives they have throughout the U.S., thanks to Joseph Biden. Russia or China could use this as an excuse to send more military assets to the region. Now, I want to also note something, is the day that Trump met with Zelensky, Russia annihilated some of Ukraine territory the day of, during the meeting. That was a symbolic, I'm nobody's punk. That's what Putin said. Okay. Now, you better believe there's also a disinformation war ramping up. Okay. You're going to see it, both sides. But this isn't about optics, right? It's about survival. Drug cartels aren't just a Mexico problem. They're not just a Colombia problem. They're a transnational, militarized, multi-billion-dollar threat that owns half of the leadership across the world, if you didn't know. Right? Drugs are the cash crop. It's not corn. I don't care what the stock market says. Drugs are. And Venezuela is the artery that feeds them, okay? But I think that it's a scary thing because this isn't just about dope, okay? It's not about dope. Let's be honest. And you have to think about this a little deeper. It's also about national security. It's about sovereignty. It's about showing the world that America has teeth again, because we have looked weak to a lot of people. And man, I'm telling you, they didn't do the Fort Knox audit. Okay, so we don't know if they have gold there or not. We don't know. Probably not, because they had the little fight and then, you know, the rigmarole. But what our dollar value comes from is things like them B-2 bombers, Army Rangers, right? Tanks, warships. That is what brings us absolute value to our dollar. Okay? That is what it does. Now, you're not in the White House, okay? So, but why does it matter to you if you're not in the White House? Be ready for retaliation inside the U.S. Start looking at this as a multi-front operation: economic warfare, border sabotage, narco infiltration. Now, and look, I've disliked some things Donald Trump has done as of late, but the media will spin this as Trump picking a fight. But this is a decades-old mess. Decades old, right? Biden turned a blind eye to this. Everybody has turned, even Trump in his first term pretty much turned a blind eye to this, because he was getting a lot of flack from the media saying he was a racist because he was wanting to kick out drug dealers. Who cares what they say about you, right? While the world freaks out about global instability, man, you got to train, you got to get stronger, harder to kill, because when the storm comes, the weak will beg for safety. The strong will already be walking toward the fight, okay? Now, a lot of people, when we talk about Ukraine, Ukraine is not America first. The country, our greatest ally, is not America first. And we should avoid foreign entanglements. I 100% agree. But cartel using Venezuela as a launch pad, direct threat to American soil. This isn't Iraq. It's not Syria. This is the Western Hemisphere, and it's bleeding into our borders. It has been bleeding in our borders for years. If a gang across the street starts supplying dope to your neighborhood and putting fentanyl in your kids' food, don't wait for permission to strike back, right? Or do you shut that operation down and send a message? That is, to me, what this is. Venezuela is a narco state, not a sovereign democracy. The government is the cartel, right? The Cartel de los Soles is a military-run operation. This isn't corruption. This is state-sponsored drug trafficking. They move literal tons of cocaine and fentanyl through their ports. And the drugs they ship directly kill Americans. Fentanyl deaths in the U.S. are now higher than all U.S. combat deaths in Vietnam. Venezuelan generals move it. Mexican cartels distribute it, okay? So you can't say America first while ignoring the poison pipeline pouring into our country, right? They're also hosting America's enemies: Chinese development firms, Russian naval visits, Iranian agents, Hezbollah camps in the jungle. So if you let an enemy foothold sit this close to U.S. shores, you're not neutral, you're being negligent. But there's risk. There's risk involved. There always is. It can spiral. You touch Venezuela and suddenly you're in a proxy war territory with China, Russia, and Iran. If it turns into a nation-building quagmire like we always try to do, which we should never do, then yeah, that violates America first. I don't say to invade. Don't occupy. Just hit them hard. Target cartel infrastructure, disrupt shipping lanes, use black ops, drones, and partner nation support. Not a full-scale invasion. We don't need to go blow something up and then pay for the repairs for the next 30 years. We need surgical force, not forever wars. Right? And while that happens, need to lock down our border like it's Normandy 1944. Okay? So again, I am not for foreign wars or getting involved in other things, but this directly affects the United States. So I'm in agreement with it. The mission is valid as long as we don't turn it into another forever war. You want America first. That means protecting Americans from drugs, chaos, and death, even if that fight starts outside of our border. And someone said it here, where they're deep into human trafficking as well, and that's absolutely true. Right? Get in and get out. That's right. Get in and get out. That's what we have to do. Right? It's, you know, it's never a good thing to do that, but protecting Americans from this drugs is, to my opinion, a good thing, right? Now, and for me, I know the Marine Expeditionary Unit are there. If you want to send somebody, send those boys. I promise you now. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me. I want to know your thoughts about this. And also the shirt it's like a surf shirt, like tourist shirt. That's what we try to make it, man. Got the rifle here. It'll be out Friday as well as the U.S. Liberty hats. It's got the Black Scout crest here. I think it's dope. You know, it looks like one of those vacation tees. That's what, from a surf shop. That's what we tried to replicate with this, man. So hope you get a chance to pick some up. They'll go fast like they always do. I know people have been asking for the U.S. Liberty hats, and this is like the Navy style hat. If you're in the Navy, you know what I'm talking about, or if you're a Marine on a Navy ship, the Navy guys wear the hats of their ship like as part of their uniform when they're like on the ship or underway or what have you. So I thought that was cool. It was a cool thing to do. And obviously remembering the USS Liberty and how our greatest ally tried to sink that thing. All right, guys. Well, I thank you so much for hanging out with me. And make sure you comment. Let me know if you think Trump should take direct military action against Venezuela's cartels-backed regime, or is this too far? I'm open to hear you, man. I don't have all the answers. I love reading the comments. I love seeing, because I'm not always right. I never think I'm always right. So I always like to hear you guys comment. So make sure you drop a comment. Help me boost the algorithm, man. They've been trying to shut me down this week. And anyway, guys, stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous.
2, 3. 1, 2.